The influence of procurement continues to grow. As I said at the outset, I thought I would run this type of session either with SAMA or with, indeed, individual clients, and I thought that would go away after a period of time, but it hasn't gone away, and it continues. So one of the reasons why procurement's influence continues to grow is that it's built up a very strong record of achievement. It's not untypical. In fact, it's pretty typical. If you're talking about a large corporate which has a chief procurement officer, you'll find that CPO usually changes every 3, 4, or 5 years. And a new CPO comes in and he or she will set new stretch targets for the procurement organization, and they usually achieve them to some significant degree. So CFOs are sitting there thinking, all I need to do is get a new CPO and it'll kickstart the organization to get more value out of the supply chain. So ever since I started in procurement, which was 1984, I've come across, in fact, it's just the way it is. Procurement organizations continue to deliver more value. That value often is extracted from you, but it's there nevertheless. There's a lot more IT enablement, which you're very familiar with as well. Now that has some impact on the big procurement spend, on everything that the procurement organization buys. It shouldn't have so much impact on the strategic relationships, because the strategic relationships go beyond IT enablement. But it means that for the procurement organizations, what they can do is a lot of the transactional stuff is now handled by IT systems. And of course, we've all seen that some of the transactional purchasing work is outsourced to third-party specialists as well. So there's growing confidence that procurement has a mandate. Now, you're all familiar with this idea of the SAM as a trusted advisor. My proposition to you is that your biggest competitor for that role is procurement. Because procurement people are setting themselves up to be the trusted commercial advisor within their business. Because they have access to so much information about what's available from the supply chain. They are the experts. And of course, by the time you get involved, they've already filtered the market and they've got a pretty good idea of who they want to talk to. And they've almost certainly got a very good idea of what their specifications are. So procurement as a transactional buying office is changing, and it should change for the relationships that you're involved with. Much improved supply market knowledge and realized specifications, or fully realized specifications, that should say. And they're value voracious. They don't just stop at a sourcing decision. There's a lot of evidence, and I'll touch upon it shortly, about how much additional value can be secured from the supply chain post-contract. So your role as SAMs needs to engage with that particular agenda. So it's the very opposite from the fire and forget mentality that a lot of, indeed, procurement people, but also a lot of people on the selling side do. Win the contract, or let the contract, and then go off and work on the next one, work on the next customer, or work on the next category of spend. So very much a mainstream function. I think we heard either yesterday or this morning, SAM is a CXO priority, and undoubtedly it is, it has to be, but also procurement is a CXO priority. And there is an argument, and we heard it yesterday in the academic forum. There's an argument which says procurement, and Neil Rackham himself said this actually quite a few years ago now, is that procurement has really outstripped the selling function in terms of its capability and the knowledge of what it's buying. The tools they have are more mature and more routinely deployed. You got a question? Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely do not disagree on influence of procurement, but in my world, I mean, I'm selling pretty technical solutions. They have no idea what they're buying. They don't know. Yeah. So just buy the idea that's going to work, and they will have good price, and it will enhance their reputation within the organization, but they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because they are too generic, they have too many things to buy. So you know.
Yeah. But you have to be careful, don't we? When we talk about procurement, we're talking here with a strategic account management group. And what I'm talking about, the sort of procurement engagement you should be having, you should be expected to do with strategically minded procurement people. You've got to ask yourself the question, if you're dealing with tactical buyers who are only interested in price savings, do you really have a strategic relationship?